We're going to make a ribollita. The building blocks are any vegetables you'd like to use. Always the basics for soup, right? Carrot, celery, onion. We're also adding today some fennel and some parsnip. As you can see, this is the perfect use up. Our entire counter. I had a bit of cabbage left from the other day, so I chopped that. I had escarole left from, oh my gosh, when was that, John? Like a week ago? Yeah. I had some chard left from the garden. So it's a use up of all different greens, any dark greens you like. We're cooking out the tougher vegetables first with any herbs you like. I happen to have in the fridge sage, thyme, and rosemary, so I made a bundle out of that. We need 2 quarts plus an extra couple of cups of liquid to reconstitute porcinis. So you cover them with stock or water, and we're going to let them reconstitute while we're cooking our soup. For the soup, get the biggest pot you got, man. And we're going to start that pot with a little bit of pork, pancetta. You can omit this, and it's a delicious vegetarian dish. It'll still be lovely. If you use something like chard, which I have here, take the stems and chop them. And you're going to cook the chopped stems with all of these tougher root vegetables here. So I'm going to tear some bread and get that into the oven. To our big soup pot, we are adding our herb bundle. All of our carrot, celery, onion, parsnip, fennel, and of course, because it's for me and John and our family, garlic. These leafy tops of the chard and the escarole, this can wait and get wilted in later, okay? The cabbage can go in now. And I'm gonna add salt. And our big hunk of parm rind, right? And now for pepper, you can put in black pepper, red pepper, or both. Now we're gonna let this sweat. So I'm gonna put the lid kind of askew like this. We can now add a couple of quarts of chicken and vegetable stock. And let that come up to a boil before you start wilting in your greens, okay? We can add our tomato, if you're using it. These are semi-dried. And I started with 2 cups of dry beans, and I cooked those out separately. Or you can use 2 cans of beans from your pantry. Now we're gonna let this come up to a boil and cook out a bit, and then we're gonna wilt in those greens. I did not burn the bread. I added most of the greens. I just wanted to show you, just wilt them in little bunches like this. I took out the porcinis so that we could cool them enough to chop them. Now I'm gonna add the fortified stock to our big pot of soup. Now for the porcini, they're already sliced, of course, when you buy them in the package. So I just run my knife through them once or twice, and that's good enough. And of course, we're gonna grate in our nutmeg to highlight our dark greens. If you're feeding a group, you would add the bread to the soup pot and just put the soup pot literally in the middle of the table. For me, I'm going to serve this soup over a few days to a bunch of different people. So what we're going to do is take some of our bread, put it in the bowl, our toasted stale bread, okay, that'll make it extra nutty. And we're going to pour the beans and vegetables, porcini stock, broth over the top and let it set there. When we bring ribollita to the table, we put on a little cheese and leave the cheese on the table. People want more as they go. Some white raw onion. And a nice drizzle of really good, fancy, fruity EVOO.